welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for having me. My name is Joseph Molina Flynn, and I am an immigration attorney and also the president of the Rhode Island Latino Political Action Committee. I'm here today to speak to you about the real impact that this bill would have on the Latino community, particularly when it comes to people passing themselves off as attorneys by using the term notario and practicing what is effectively immigration law to the great detriment of our community. I will start by giving you an example. Back in November of last year, I had a gentleman come to my office who had been to one of these notarial offices to initiate an asylum process. He spoke with somebody there. They supposedly filled out paperwork. They gave him evidence that this paperwork had supposedly been filed with the immigration system, and it was never in fact filed. When he presented to me the paperwork that he had received, I was able to determine pretty readily that it was fraudulent paperwork. Upon doing some research, I determined that the asylum claim had been born in 2015, and there's a one-year limitation on when you can file an asylum claim from entering the country or certain things happening. That was vitiated by the fact that this notario didn't file the proper paperwork in time. I then did file the asylum paperwork, but now we're in a battle in the immigration court over that one-year deadline and why this person missed that one-year deadline. This is the person who, if he goes back to his home country in Venezuela, he could face murder at the hands of the Venezuelan government. And to have people in our community affecting people's lives in that way so carelessly because they're able to pay an $80 fee and obtain a notarial stamp from Staples or any other office supply store is unfathomable. And though that story is not singular, these stories happen all the time in our community. There are shops everywhere, up and down, you can name the streets, but up and down the South Side, there are offices that advertise immigration services. They are not attorneys. And I do believe that if this bill were passed, and specifically the requirement that they advertise that they are not, in fact, attorneys, that would give our community a sense of security. I will say that with reference to that anecdote, I did approach the Attorney General's office to see if they would be interested in prosecuting this individual. And I was met with resistance from the Attorney General because they don't believe that they have the capacity to do that at this moment, based on what's the current statute. And so I believe that this statute would give them the ability to prosecute these individuals because it does very specifically spell out the fact that they are not to practice law or to hold themselves out as attorneys. And with that said, I will take any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for this witness? Thank you. And again, sir, I apologize.